All right. We're live. And for Cuban or anybody else, yes, this is actual live. The link is in the chat. Um, I don't know what to say, man. I was listening to South Coast Kane earlier, and not listen. Yes, I was listening to him, but I see that he had tweeted something, and he said that the CCC is essentially in somewhat of a disarray. They're looking to find ways to kind of get around the obvious, right? From throwing Lance Guidry under the bus to just South Coast, what's going on. I mean, it's just a multitude of things that are transpiring right now. But again, I don't have too much to say about it because I spent this season pretty much just kind of enjoying it because I know that seasons like this are probably going to be few and far in between because what we have going on now, and I was just listening to Canesville before I hopped on because I was trying to get a couple of numbers together. And one of the things that they talked about, and I think they went a little bit more in depth than most when they were just talking about the generational aspect of Cam Ward. And I would just like to add another aspect to it, right? Because the whole notion is these type of quarterbacks don't come around too often. And that's a true statement because Cam Ward is essentially this is his fifth year in college, and for the most part, we know that many high upper tier quarterbacks they're usually out of here in maybe 3 years. So you have a situation like with Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, even Shador Sanders, to a lesser extent because he's this will be his fourth year in college. So I think that's really the missing element of this entire thing is that I see some people talking about, going into the portal to get quarterbacks. But my thing is, this is like, look, we're talking about replacing a guy that has been in college for 5 years. That type of experience is not something that you just go find in the portal, right? You just don't go find it. And the reason I'm really harping on this is because some of the names that I'm seeing being thrown around, it's like you can't replace a fifth year quarterback with a guy that's only been here maybe 1 or 2 years. You can't do that. And another thing about it, and I go back to when Joe Burrow was at LSU. One of the things that they always used to harp on before the games, right, was as much praise as Joe Brady got for what Joe Brady did in terms of being the passing game coordinator or whatever these fancy positions they have now. Is he talked about the amount of time that Joe Burrow and Joe Brady and even the offensive coordinator at that time, how much time they could spend together because Joe Burrow wasn't so dragged down with the class load because he had essentially graduated. So he's just basically maybe taking a couple of classes that, he wants to take. And so that's another thing. Like the freer the quarterback is from having to deal with the rigors of studying for exams and all these type of things like this, they have to they have to be able to juggle that and then go out here and perform. So if you are able to take one of those things away, then yeah, you should get a very good quarterback. I remember Kenny Pickett, due to COVID, he was able to come in and have a year that got him drafted in the first round. I mean, obviously he got washed out in the league, but it just goes to show like some of this workload that they have in terms of school. You take that off of them, they got more time to dedicate to this. But anyway, there's only a few things I want to talk about tonight. Like I said, if anybody jumps on, cool. If not, we're gonna get through these topics and I'm gonna go about my business because I know everybody is going to starting tomorrow. Well, I've seen some people start today, obviously. I'm one of the ones starting today. But like I said, I'm not gonna harp on this too much. I mean, I promise I'm really not because at the end of the day, um, we went 10-2. It wasn't a pretty 10-2. The last time we won 10 games, it wasn't pretty. But at the same token, it's like, look, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy that we had Cam Ward, that we had Xavier Restrepo, Jacoby George, even though he's made some boneheaded decisions. I'm gonna enjoy that aspect of it, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to spend the rest of the time doing what we doing, doing. I know South Coast. I know you got work tonight. Like I said, when you do your video, you said you're gonna go on Tuesday. I'll be working Tuesday and Wednesday. You know what I mean? So it's a part of being an adult, I guess, right? But we at the entertainment and foolishness. We're gonna take time and we're gonna look at all these things that these individuals said and show that y'all were just blowing smoke, right? I mean, that's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna talk about the season because I really get enjoyment out of making these people to be out the idiots that they really are. But anyway, a couple things I want to talk about in this order. We're gonna talk about coordinators, Kiko. I'm not gonna harp on the defense too much. I'm gonna talk about Mario's record after 3 years and is it actually better? Is the program really moving in a certain direction? I've already touched on the portal quarterback, so I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about recruiting versus portal acquisition. Then we'll talk about the playoff outlook, right? So I'm gonna leave it at that, right? So let's talk about the coordinators. Like I said, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Obviously, Lance Guidry is the new hit piece, right? Again, y'all individuals, the ones that are paid to put out these types of messaging, y'all said Lance Guidry was the best hire that Mario Cristobal has made in his tenure here, and it's amazing now he should be fired. Now, again, I'm not going to go to bat for Lance Guidry. I'm not going to do that because some of the things that I've seen, shout out to Coach Hayes in his Good, Bad, and Ugly series, really breaking the things down so you can really kind of understand what's going on the plate and what should be going on. Some of it's coaching, some of it is just simply want to from the player, right? So, but I'm not gonna pile on Lance Guidry because you know why I'm not gonna pile on Lance Guidry? Because y'all individuals said that Mario players leaving are gonna make the team better. So y'all see. So who are two of Mario players? Cam Kitchens, and James Williams. Y'all said those two leaving, and even Corey Flagg. Again, shout out to Coach Hayes. He wears number 11 because he's number one twice. Y'all felt like those moves were not going to be issues. So you mean to tell me losing an All-American safety, even though his junior year was hit or miss, James Williams improved greatly. Y'all thought losing an All-American safety? Well, let's put this in context. Y'all thought losing two players that were drafted to the NFL was not going to be an issue when the replacements were a guy who came back. And y'all validated it by saying, well, he played for the national championship runner-up. Well, if he was like that, he should have went to the draft. So I got to say about that, right? So y'all thought that was a suitable replacement. Now, Jaden Harris, I don't know what happened to Jaden Harris. I'm a huge Jaden Harris fan. I'm not gonna switch up like I see some of y'all do on players when they don't meet y'all expectations. I'm just gonna say I expected more out of him than he gave. Maybe he wasn't as talented as I thought that he was, but I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. But at the same token, I was not going to feel like in his first year of significant playing time, he was going to be better than a James Williams or a Cam Kitchens. Even though I felt like him coming in for Cam last year, to me, showed that the staff felt like he's moving in the right direction. Apparently, whatever happened, it didn't happen. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave that at that, right? But I'm not. It didn't work out, right? The Alderman young man, right? I guess he was supposed to be Corey Flagg's replacement. It didn't work out like that. You know what I mean? And one of the things I see people talking about, let me get back to the coordinators. I don't want to skip ahead, right? So again, I'm not gonna blame Lance Guidry for this because my thing is this, right? If you feel like Lance Guidry was the best hire, then Lance Guidry should be given another year. Simple as that. But again, I know that y'all just like to stick with narrative stuff that sound good. Now it's making it seem like y'all were idiots to begin with by saying he was the best hire because now y'all want the man fired. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. But again, I'm not trying to make sense of y'all, the idiotic things that y'all say because y'all know they're idiotic when y'all say them. Y'all just hope that ish doesn't hit the fan and we get to do what we do. But we're going to do it. We're going to shine on y'all. Best believe we are going to shine on y'all. So That's that. Defensive line, again, y'all said was supposed to be the best in the country. That didn't come to fruition. Ruben Bain had some issues, injuries, sophomore slump. Akeem Mesidor, I think he has obviously some injuries and stuff. Or returning back from some injuries. Tyler Barron looked like Gregory Rousseau, Jalen Phillips the first couple of games of the season, and then he just took a chill pill and chilled out, and then he reemerges last night. I guess in a last ditch effort to show that, hey, NFL, hey, remember me? I used to lead the league. I used to lead college football in sacks. Again, I'm not going to blame these players for this because, again, y'all are twisting and stunting and all this stuff like this. Again, the reason I'm not going to solely blame Lance Gidry is because you have a linebacker coach. You have we have two defensive line coaches. And the unit, by all accounts, is disappointing. By all accounts, right? Regardless of how you feel about it, by all accounts. So my thing of it is like I'm not going to just point at Lance Gidry. It's like, no, this is a collective. This is a team effort. This entire defensive staff, from Chevis Jackson all the way down to Coach Joe, this is a team effort. This is a group effort. Y'all submitted y'all group project for the year, and it was bad. So obviously, obviously, it is what it is at this point, right? So replacing Lance Gidry, I mean, what does that do, right? And shout out again to Streeter because he brought up a very interesting aspect of this, right? He stated that look, replacing a coordinator right now in the midst of the transfer portal, you gotta weigh your options here, right? Because you may have some players that truly like that particular coordinator, or they may like that particular coach. So again, I mean, I know one of the things that we've talked about the past 2 years is how Mario has essentially hired the guys, and he kind of gave a little credence to Lance Gidry by letting him bring in Chevis Jackson this particular year, which that has not worked out. Shout out to OJ Frederick, right? Because he looked good, but everything else, nah. So again, if you're Mario, it's like when I hired the guy. Now again, I don't think many of us were a big Adai fan, but again, y'all CCC members, y'all had the whole made by Adai or a day, y'all had the hashtag going. So if I'm Mario, I'm thinking like, okay, when I hired the defensive back coach, when I hired him, we look better. When I allow for the coordinator to hire him, we look bad. So again, if you're a big time defensive coordinator and you come in for an interview and Coach Cristobal tells you, hey, look, I'll hire you, but I'm also going to hire the guys that work around you. I will take your input on potential people, but I'm not going to give you full autonomy. Why am I not going to give you full autonomy? Because the last time I did that for a guy, look what happened. Again, that's just me though. Right? That's just me. So there's another mountain that has to be climbed, right? Again, you CCC members, y'all said that Mario hired a guy that was hungry. He wasn't a guy that was looking to accomplish something, not a person that wanted to rest on their laurels. But now y'all are saying we need to hire a guy who is accomplished, who may not be who is not hungry necessarily to get a power four job because they've had them. So another thing, obviously it was you got too many chiefs in the thing. You got Kevin Steele, who historically has been one of the better college defensive coordinators of all time. You had Charlie Strong, whose resume is, bonkers. You know what I mean? So you had those two guys in there, and we're butting heads. So do you go that route again, or do you go the young and up and coming route, the person that you can tell what to do? And I'm gonna tell you something that's funny too, right? I know South Coast. I told South Coast we got to talk about on his show, but I'm gonna say it now, right? I saw somebody say something that was like, "Y'all are surprised that Lance Gidry is performing this poorly this year. Look at his previous jobs. no Power Five experience prior to Mario Hernandez. And I said, wait a minute. I thought y'all said it was because of DUIs. Y'all laughing. Listen, man. These people said Lance Guidry had not gotten a Power 5 job due to DUIs. Now y'all are saying the reason he hadn't got a Power 5 job is because he didn't do well at his G5 jobs. Wait a minute. Y'all gave us Mark. Never mind. Never mind. I got to get to the offense because I don't want to talk about this too long. But with that being said, look, it's not so much as just letting Lance Guidry go, right? You gotta look at the assessment. No position group improved. Period. And the thing of it is, and I shout out to my dog King Reezy because I told him this. I said what I saw this year on defense was the fact that the incoming talent was not good enough to replace the outgoing talent. And I gave you an example. Mish Powell and Jaden Harris were not better than Cam Kitchens and James Williams. Jalen Alderman was not good enough to replace Corey Flagg, who, based on PFF, had a hell of a year this year. Had a hell of a year this year. To be honest, I don't think Tyler Barron gave us anything that Akeem Mesidor hadn't given us. You know what I mean? I know Akeem Mesidor was slow to get kind of going, but I don't think in totality he didn't give us anything that Akeem Mesidor had given us. He just gave us a little security because Akeem Mesidor was working his way back. Ruben Bain, sophomore slump injury, those particular things like that. So he had that going on. So his sophomore year was not better than his freshman year. From a defensive tackle position, I will say I think Simeon Barrow, and I know Cuban Kane will probably disagree, but I think Simeon Barrow gave us a little bit more than what Leonard Taylor gave because I think that young man really gave his all. Even though there was some confusion, in the offseason about the whole NIL situation. But from that standpoint, Daryl Porter did not play better this year than he played last year. I don't think Mish Powell, even when he was in the slot, or Daryl Porter in the slot was not better than Corey Couch. IMAX was going on. So in reality, the talent this year was not better than what was from last year. It wasn't. And even the players that were here last year, they did not play better than they played last year in this same exact defense, right? Which is kind of head scratching to me because you would think that a second year in the system, you should be more up to speed. But and I'll say this and I'll let me get back to the question because I want to jump ahead so fast, right? So let's get to the offense, right? All I gotta say about the offense is you had a generational quarterback. I cannot sit up here. I don't think anyone can sit up here and say that they feel like Shannon Dawson performed any better than he did last year. I think one of the things that is prominent is I think Cam Ward's gunslinger mentality. I felt like made plays that initially weren't there. Because think about this for a second, right? Why is Cam Ward running out of the pocket, still looking downfield? He's still waiting for guys to uncover. So what is that to? And obviously there were plays where he didn't have to do that. Obviously, there were plays he didn't have to do that, but there were plays TVD didn't have to do that either. Even though we know TVD wasn't going to run around the pocket and do all that fancy stuff anyway. So it just shows me really nothing was actually better in reality, right? It goes to show that shout out to Elijah Aurora for coming back, being 100% healthy. He was a big time dynamic, you know what I mean? I think some of the younger tight ends, they didn't really play as much, or they weren't as much of an impact as Elijah Aurora was. But Elijah Aurora, I mean, without injury concern, I mean, he looks like he's an athlete, man. I don't want to be a homer and say he looks like the best tight end in college football because to me that would be disingenuous of me saying that because I haven't watched enough of college football, enough teams to kind of assess the tight end position. I just know he's very good. He's a very good athlete. He can do it all, block, catch, line up, all that good stuff like that, right? So I think that added another dynamic. But again, I cannot say anything offensively from a play calling perspective told me that Shannon Dawson improved mightily versus the aspect of saying we had a quarterback that if guys were covered, he had the ability to manipulate the pocket, get outside the pocket, make some big time plays, make plays that were literally DOA. Now, some of those DOA plays ended up being some turnovers, but there were a lot of DOA plays that he made that made Shannon Dawson look better. So again, I know the rumor was, I think it kind of, perished a little bit about the Rice job, but he might actually leave. So that's another thing, right? Like what are we doing from a coordinator position? And again, it goes back to what I said. Because some people are saying Mario needs to go get the established guy. But the thing of it is like, okay, Mario, you want to be a CEO, right? And again, there's some people with a lot more intel than I have. But to me, it kind of seems like this whole relinquishing of authority still seems to be maybe an issue with him. So, bro, what's up? So, if that's an issue with you, you may not be. He may just be relegated to G5 coordinators, guys that want the ability to advance their careers. You may not be able to go get an established guy, and if you do get an established guy, it might just be a guy who's like, look, my plan is to be here 1 year and I'm out. Simple as that, right? And coaching circles are small, right? So if Mario reaches out to someone, says, "Hey, come work for me," I'm sure they can pick up the phone, call Shannon Dawson. I'm sure they can pick up the phone, call Josh Guest. I'm sure they can pick up the phone and call any of Mario's previous offensive coordinators or even defensive coordinators, and they can have a candid conversation. They're not gonna beat around the bush, right? And say, "Hey, look, what is it like?" "Oh, well, man, he don't like for you to stand up to him, or if things ain't going a certain way, he gonna influence." An established guy don't have to deal with it. Because look at what we're seeing right now. We saw something unprecedented. We saw Chip Kelly say, "I don't want to be a head coach anymore. All I want to do is go back and call plays. That's all I want to do." Gus Malzahn, "I don't want to be the head coach anymore. I want to go call plays." Now, again, shout out to my dog King Reezy because he made a point. He was saying, maybe Lincoln Riley may just be good enough to be a play caller. But will Lincoln Riley ego allow for him to go back to being a play caller? Now he will be a very high paid play caller. But would he do that? And again, these individuals, they want to go do this. It's like, look, I swallow my pride to not be in charge of the entire team, but I'm not swallowing my pride to come work for you and you telling me what to do on the side of the ball where I know I'm the SHIT. Because again, UCCC member said, "Hey, look, we ain't got time for people that ain't gonna want to be all aboard." So, like I said, so to me, I think the coordinator pool is gonna be shrunken. And again, and I agree with this to an extent. What does job security look like for a person that says, "Look, man, this man is on his third coordinator in 4 years. Two coordinators were fired after year one. One coordinator and Shannon Dawson, he may be able to walk on his own accord, but Lance Guidry, he got fired. So you fired two defensive coordinators in 3 years, two new offensive coordinators in all in 4 years. So what does the talent pool look like? If you're telling me that, man, if I don't get it done in year one, I'm out the door. Or if I get it done in year one and I don't get it done in year two, I'm out the door. So I see a lot of these big boards for these big time coordinators and stuff like this. But again, let's put this back to real life. If you're going to a job interview for a particular position and you know that they fired 3 people before you after 1 year, that's a lot of pressure. When I can maybe go somewhere else and I got all kind of job security. And on top of that, I got to deal with managing a roster with the portal and going out to recruit and making sure I can show that, yes, you want 300K. Okay, we'll get you 300K. Like, nobody wants to deal with all that. And again, a lot of people say he grinds people down. I'm just gonna say that, man. I'm gonna leave it at that because it's more people with a lot more insight than I do. I'm just giving an outside of observation. So let's go to Kiko Marino. I'm not gonna stay here very long. I've seen some people say he was very effective when he was blitzing last year. Well, guess what else? Corey Flagg was there last year. And again, shout out to D Streeter again. Because I was listening to episode of Coach Hayes Street. Well, Hayes Street. I call it Coach Hayes Street. Hayes Street. And they were talking about, well, Streeter was talking about how, I think it was Popo was talking about how um, Corey Flagg basically told them in so many words, y'all may be more talented than me, but y'all are not going to be smarter than me. And how he went to go sit in every position group meeting, D-line, linebacker, secondary. He wanted to know the defense inside and out. I have not heard anyone say that about Kiko Marino. Kiko Marino got the green sticker on the back of his helmet. So that tells me that you're responsible for setting the entire defense up. You get the call, you got to make the checks. So I'm not going to question Kiko's football IQ, but this is what I'm going to say. If your best attribute is blitzing, no one said anything about you being the guy to set the defense up or anything. I cannot fault you. But it just goes to show you're not a complete linebacker. And you were asked to be a complete linebacker because we gave you the green sticker. And it was one particular play right there on the goal line. Yeah, we lied, Cuban. Yeah, we lied. It was one play on the goal line where it was one play on the goal line where they had the end zone cut. I'm using Coach Hayes' terminology. We got the end zone cut of this thing. The announcers are literally saying Miami is literally outflanked. There's not enough bodies over here. It was towards the end of the game when Syracuse got what they call the elephant package. You see Miami overloaded on the right side. Syracuse has more numbers to the offense's left side. Well, no, let's do it from the end zone cut. We're overloaded to the right. Syracuse has more personnel and more bodies to the left. They hand the ball off to the defense's left, and guess what? LaQuint Allen goes in untouched. I text Coach Hayes. I said, I know this is going to be good, bad, and ugly. But again, Kiko, you got the green dot. Again, that's why I said I'm not going to blame this too much on. I don't go in on players. But again, some of this stuff is like, bro, you learn this stuff in Pop Warner. You learn this stuff in middle school. Like, if we're outflanked, move people over. How do you not notice that? Don't you have keys that you have to read? But again, I'm not questioning the young man's intellect. The reason I'm not, because he had the ability and talent to do something that I never could do, which is play Division I college football. So I never take that away from him. But I will say this, to play at the upper level of Division I college football, you got to be able to line those guys up. Remember that play, which I'm sure most people have seen, that play where Georgia is playing and not Roquan, Nakobe Dean. They snapped the ball. And after the play, one of Georgia's linebackers didn't get to position. Luckily, the guy drops the ball. Nakobe Dean runs right over to his teammate, slaps him on top of the head and said, don't do that again. So, again, one of the interesting conversations that I've had with individuals on Twitter, Cuban, I see you in the back. Let me cook for a second. I'm going to let you. One of the interesting discussions that I had with somebody on Twitter was they were talking about where's this Mario yelling at players on the field for a lack of accountability. And I'm sitting there like, what is he yelling for? Why is it one of the players on the field yelling? Why are you not yelling? Why are you not slapping? Why is Cam Ward not slapping Jacoby George upside the head? You're not gonna get a penalty for slapping your own player. Why is Kiko not? Why is somebody not slapping Kiko upside the head, bro? You got the green dot. Why are we outflanked over here? Make the call. But no, y'all. Y'all talking about y'all talking about the team that got to a point that was player led, but y'all listen, but y'all want to throw Lance Gidry under the bus because when we do a stunt, again, Kiko, the defensive tackle, why you not slapping him upside the head? Moton, get your ASS to the outside. Or if Bane is in the Mesidor, get your butt to the outside. And if not, when we get to the sideline, I'm going to walk right to the defensive coordinator, whoever, don't put his ass back in the game again. Because he can't do the job. Straight like that. If you want to fight, F it, we can fight. But again, guess what? Guess what they say? Actions reflect leadership. So if the coaches don't care about it, why should the players? But the culture is supposed to have changed. Oh, here you go. What's going on?
Seattle was right. I was wrong. I called a blowout. It was supposed to be a blowout, but
it was supposed
Mario.
to be.
Mario did Mario things, and I can't do nothing about that, man. It was 21-0. I was like, I told y'all, man, this is gonna be easy. Then Mario had to do Mario things, man.
What do you mean Mario did Mario things?
What he did at Oregon. He would lose to teams that he's not supposed to lose to.
Hey, it is what it is. But do you have any do you have let's get out Mario for a second, right? Let's take joy in talking about the individuals who blew smoke up everyone's ass.
Hold up, before I even get there, I got a beef with you and Coach Hayes.
Okay. What's the beef?
This is your fault and Coach Hayes' fault. In the offseason.
I
said 10-2.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You and Coach Hayes said there is a standard. Cuban, no. There's a standard. There's a standard. Right?
It is.
11-1, 12-0. I said, all right, I'm with y'all. 12-0. So the reason we are not successful is because of Shad and Coach Hayes. Y'all said there is a standard that needs to be met. This is the new Miami, right?
Wow.
And I was right the whole time, but y'all convinced me. The y'all part of the Canes media. I believed in what y'all told me. You said there is a standard. Where's the standard, sir?
I ain't got a check, so I'm not a part of the media. I'm just a concerned fan. Yeah, it's right there to be had.
I don't know if my audio, your audio is messed up.
What am I skipping out?
You sound very staticky. I don't know if it's me.
Hold up, well then I'll switch it over. Hold up. I'll get back to it everything.
Okay.
What about now?
All right, yeah, now it's better.
Okay, all right, good. I mean, you go up 21-0 on a team, and you're supposed to finish it off. I mean, we give Mario a hard time, as we should. But at some point, I'm not here to pile on Mario, because I came to the realization the reason that I can't speak for y'all. The reason I pile on Mario so much is because of his fans. So no, tonight is not about Mario. Maybe the rest.
I know it's not about Mario, but you told me the standard. I need you to explain to me this standard, sir. You and Coach Hayes convinced me on this standard thingamajig.
Oh, the standard?
Yeah, standard. Because, like I said, in the offseason, I had 10-2, and y'all like,
wait a minute.
Standard,
Wait a minute. This, I'm going to shoot myself some bail. I'll let Coach Hayes defend himself. I'll shoot myself some bail. In 2003, the standard was the standard, and we went 10-3. So, I mean, it happens.
All right, I'll let you go, because I'm real mad at you and Coach Hayes, because you guys convinced me from going from 10-2 to predicting a 12-0 season, right? And the standard is not met. Now that the standard is not met, what is the? Because I asked both of you this in the offseason. If the standard is not met, what happens?
I don't know. I mean, because apparently some things that I wasn't aware of are in the works now. Individuals are talking about we need to get some more portal players. We need to switch out coordinators. So I mean, everything was all good 9 months ago. It's all good 9 months ago. Now all of a sudden, somehow things are not good anymore. We went and got the wrong players from the portal. Um, I'm just as confused as anyone else. I mean, I don't know where we go from here. All I'm gonna say is I took the due diligence yesterday of saying that we are essentially from a win-loss perspective in the same exact place we were when Al Golden finished his 2013 season, 22-15. But but guess what? We had to go. Listen, we are 12-12 versus ACC opponents under Coach Cristobal. Now, me personally, I don't think the ACC is any better than it was when Randy, Mark, Rick, and Manny and Al Golden were here. I don't think it's any better. I actually think it's taking a step backwards, to be honest. So to be 500, I don't know, man. But
Be 500 with 2 NFL prospects at quarterback.
Hey, that's what they say. Do you have any thoughts on Kiko Marinoa?
He should not wear that number 1. That number 1 was worn last time by a linebacker named Jesse Armstead, right?
Wait a minute. Remember they said Mario was holding the number 1 jersey for special.
Yep. Yep. So Mario told me he is Jesse Armstead, right?
Oh my God. Oh boy, South Coast show is gonna be crazy. I wish I could.
That's gonna be rated X-rated R. I'm holding some of my opinions to that show.
I wish I could be there live, but I'm gonna catch it on the replay. So I'm just gonna ask you some questions. Like I said, I want to get through the topics and stuff like that. Then if we, you want to, kind of go off a little bit, we can go off. This portal quarterback situation, right? When they say look at the options of portal quarterbacks out there, I have to ask myself. I say, okay, what quarterback is going to their 5th year next year? That do you think that we can snag? Because at this particular point, I know they had the discussion about what Uncle Luke said, and I understood what Luke was saying. I didn't agree with the first part, but I understood what he was saying on the back part, especially when we have a situation where Jacoby Joyce. Think about this, bro. Jacoby Joyce gets the penalty. He goes off the field, and guess what? He gets right back on the field.
Well, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to go into that because you've seen my statement on Twitter where I said Mario's not a good recruiter, right? I said Manny's a better recruiter, and I'm gonna give you my explanation.
You say that. Make sure, Cuban Kane says Manny is a better recruiter than Mario. I'm not saying that. The reason why I'm not gonna say that is because recruiting services are trash. And players are only going to get better if they want to get better.
Right.
If they want to get better. If they don't want to get better, they're not going to get better because there's a crap ton of guys that feel like, and this is the recruiting pitch. I'm recruiting you. I'm bringing you in. You're good. He's supposed to be good. That person's supposed to be good. And we're just going to let y'all compete against one another. And whichever one of y'all has a superior talent, you're the one that's going to play. Simple as that. I don't put a grand emphasis on running back coaches, DB coaches, wide receiver coaches, and defensive end coaches. I say that. I don't put a grand emphasis on any of y'all because those are the positions that usually have the most freak athletes, and y'all are really not doing very much other than just, hey, look, see ball, get by. But anyway.
Now, the reason why I said that is if you were recruiting good or any quote unquote, the word that everybody uses, an elite level, you would have replaced Restrepo, George, Horton, so on and so forth, right? You have not been recruiting at an elite level. You're still using Manning's 3 stars, not 4 stars, using Manning's 3 stars. Manning's 2 other 4 stars are at SMU balling. Well, 2 of them is balling, and the other one is just being okay, right?
Yeah.
You have not been able to replace these guys. You know what I'm saying? You are quote unquote an elite recruiter, right? The way I'm going back to what Shad and Coach Hayes told me.
Oh
The
boy,
standard, right?
the
Back in the
standard.
standard days, if you drop the pass, you
Get
get
out the
benched,
field. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we don't have talent because Mario has missed a lot of recruiting. That's why Cuban said Manny's a better recruiter than Mario because Mario cannot replace players on offense or defense.
Okay. So I mean, so in terms of the portal quarterback, do we go get someone that is at least half as good as Cam Ward?
Connor
Is
Wegman will
is
be
that person
perfect.
is who?
Connor Wegman would be perfect for this system.
He get hurt too much.
Hey, we have the best O line in the nation, I was told. Right? We have an elite O line, right?
Oh wow.
That's what I was told.
I
Right?
don't know about all that.
I mean, you have people killed the previous coach for having sorry linebackers, right? So if he's a linebackers coach, and if you're offensive line coach, you go get Connor Wegman and you make sure he doesn't get touched because I was told we have an elite offensive line, right? So if you have an elite offensive line, get yourself a pocket pass quarterback and make it happen. But I will go get Connor Wegman.
Wow. Mm.
Because this is a very tricky one, right?
Okay.
Mario has been bullied these last 2 quarterbacks by TVD and by Cam Moore. Am I lying?
Hey, but you know what? I'm gonna say something. I know, like I said, I know how you feel about KB, so we had to get into all that. But shout out to KB over there. KB said something tonight that was so interesting. It was a great perspective. KB said,
Who's KB?
I can't describe KB because I don't. He's
He's on Twitter, or he on Twitter?
No, he's on Kingsville. He's one of their.
Oh,
one of their
got it.
contributors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
But what he said was, in so many words, he was saying, "Look, y'all gave full autonomy to Cam. When we went up 21-0, you should have told Cam, look, we're not gonna let you be Cam Ward right now. We need to go ahead and get the victory." And the reason I'm bringing it up is because of what you just said. I think Cam Ward punked Mario more than TVD did because I made you essentially match what I probably would have gotten as at least a second round quarterback. I'm gonna say first round. I'll make you match what I would have got as a second round quarterback. You're going to give me full autonomy of the offense, and y'all are going to live and perish by my decision at the line of scrimmage. So if I want to run the ball, we're going to run the ball. If I want to pass the ball, we're going to pass the ball. So I think that's much because to their credit, TVD didn't get full autonomy of the offense. So I think so what Cam Ward did, and again, it got us to 10 wins. It got him to it improved his draft stock tremendously. So I'm not gonna knock it for that. But as they say, a sucker is born every day.
He did not, but Mario said that he let TVD interview the offensive coordinator.
That's what they said. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
I remember they said that.
So I think what Mario's going to do next time, he's going to get a quarterback that's going to sit down and listen to him. Right? It's like it's my way of the highway. We're not doing this Cam Ward TVD experience anymore. We're going to get a system quarterback that's going to shut up and listen, shut up and dribble.
Well, that means that he's already on the roster, and no one should be talking about going to get a portal quarterback. That means, like South Coast said earlier, take out bumps and bruises with Emory next year.
We should have done well. That's a show what we have on South Coast show because I asked a while ago, is it a rebuild or remodel, right? And that's been a very tricky question since the beginning of time, right? So, Shad, you mean to tell me there's you and Coach Hayes? I'm gonna. This is my off-season fight. The whole fight. This is my off-season fight. So don't blame me. Blame Mario. This is I look stupid, so I'm going to turn it back to you and Coach Hayes. Y'all
not
told me
blaming
there's a
Mario.
standard, right?
I'm not
So
blaming Mario.
I know I'm blaming you and Coach Hayes. You guys are the sole responsible for us having a 10-2 record because the standard was not met, right? But with that being said, right?
I told you the standard was still the standard back in 03. They won
I
10 games
know,
in 03.
but I
So
had a different mindset, and I was convinced, and I was bamboozled by you and Coach Hayes. I'm sorry, you guys influenced me. I believed in y'all. You know, I bought the cane juice. I bought the Shad books, right? And I was at the front of the church, in front of the class, you know, saying hallelujah. And I went 12-0. I believe,
that
right?
was your fault. That was your fault.
Hey, you guys are my teachers, right? But like with that being said, next year is going to be a very difficult season.
No, we gotta get to that because
No, but
we
you
got
asked me about, you know,
no, but
what
I was just
it,
asking you, is there a portal quarterback available that you feel like is at least is half as good as Cam Ward is?
yeah, I said Conor Wegman, but then you said that, you know, we're going to be all in with Emery, right? And I'm like,
No,
you can't
no,
do that.
I said Emery because of the statement that you made in which you said Mario is not going to go off and let a guy take
Right. So
advantage of
this
him like that.
so the tricky question is Mario trying to meet the Chad and Coach Hayes standard, or we are going to rebuild?
At this point, man, next year, next year, no trouble but to be a rebuild. It has to
Because
be. We lost too. We lost too much productivity, right? And I'm gonna see something, right? Because I listened to Coach Hayes' show the other night. He had one of the guys that is one of the main speakers in the Twitter space, and they got onto the subject about getting back to the Luke thing about returning productivity. And he brought up the aspect of like, well, Miami's not the only team that's going to be returning a lot, having to replace a lot of production, because he was looking ahead to the next year's schedule. And I said, that's a very good point because I was looking at next year's schedule. I was looking at some of the teams that we face. Three of the teams that we face, they're returning their starting quarterback, which gives them the heads up over us automatically. But you still have a team like Notre Dame. They're going to have to go get another quarterback. Florida State, whatever they're gonna do, and Florida is one of the teams that's returning their quarterback. But I think the point that was missing in that exchange from that brother, and I have no disrespect to him, was the fact that when we lose productivity at Miami, it's not easy to replace that.
why not?
Other teams
Hold on,
have
why
had
not?
the ability to replace their lost production.
Why not? It's easy to replace.
I don't know what the reason is. Again, like I said, it's so many factors. Because again, think about this for a second, right? We're on the verge potentially losing both coordinators, right? So, what do you do? You have to learn a new system.
Hey, this is
Um,
this is college football, man. No excuses, man. You have a
no,
head coach
you're
getting paid
right.
$8 million. I
You're
am not
right.
trying to hear none of that shit, right? You getting
I
sorry, cuz
agree.
you got
I
love.
agree. I agree with you. But what I am saying is, we have not done a good enough job of getting players on the field in important situations. Because again, and this is one of the main reasons that I kind of rebuked or wanted. I wish I was there to rebut what he said was the fact because they were talking about the wide receivers and he went into some stats about some of the freshman wide receivers playing and all this stuff. And so that's cool, whatever. But I think Luke was looking at it from a more overall standpoint from the team, right? Because we are literally again, and going back to Manny Navarro video, we're literally talking about bringing in portal players again for every single position group this particular year. And it's like Mario has backed himself into a corner. We won 10 games this year. You can't go back and win 6 or 7 games next year. You can't do that. Especially when you came out and made the statement after we beat Florida State and said recruits see which program, and I'm paraphrasing, see which program is actually going in the right direction.
Fist pump. Fist slam on
And
the table. You got to
and
slam on the table.
you applauded that.
Yeah, I
I
did. That was
remember
dope.
you
Yeah,
applauded that.
that was very dope. Yes.
You can't make that statement and turn around and win 7, or you can't turn around and win 7 or 8 games next year. Because how is that going in the right direction?
You're 1,000% correct. Now, this is my thing, right? Again, going to Shad and Coach Hayes. You guys, I am going to get on y'all the whole off season because
Why?
there was a debate, right?
What was the debate?
Coach Hayes had a 2-win project, win year over year, right? First year was 5-7. Next year was 7-5. Now it's and I say, Coach, no, your progression is 9 to 10 games, right? And y'all like, no, this is the standard, right? So this year we went 10-2. According to Coach Hayes' standard and your standard, next year I'm expecting a 12-0 season.
Yeah.
I'm expecting, because this is what Coach Hayes held me to, you to, the whole fan base to. If this is a upward trajectory, we went from 5, 7, 10. Next year is a 12-0 season. There is no excuse. If you do not go 12-0, you should be fired. Point blank, period.
You think so?
And I know it's not going to happen, but
No, I think next year will be his 4th year, right? So usually these 10-year deals, really, the buyout money is really high within the first 5 years. So under no circumstances can he can we go 7 or 8 wins and he not go into year 5 on the hot seat.
Well,
it just doesn't work like that.
His friend is the president. He was hired before the.
I don't care.
I know, but this is just the reality, right? His friend is the president. The main booster is his friend. He's really the AD because he was hired before the AD. So there is no, this is, and I've said this on South Coast. So this is my problem with friends on, in the program. When you have friends, there's no, nobody's holding nobody accountable.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the problem. But what the funny thing
but
is,
you know
Luke, one second before I lose my train of thought. What Luke said, and I'm not trying to give myself a soft. We've been saying this for the longest time. What Luke said, we're like, hey man, this next year is going to be an issue. The rotation. We've been saying this, but when we say it, we're called haters, right?
Well, they say Luke a hater.
Yeah, Luke is a hater. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's like what he's saying is like it's not nothing new. It's pretty fucking obvious. I'm sorry, it's pretty obvious, right?
Oh man, I'm not monetized, so it's
no, it's your daughter. I gotta have respect. I don't know if your daughter's around or whatever. I don't want to start.
You're playing in my headphones, so she can hear.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like I said, man. Next year it should be 12-0, and I don't want anything. That's why I told Coach Hayes it's time for us to battle now because I'm gonna cook you, and it's gonna be an easy cook because I am using the words you used against me, sir, and I'm doing it to you, Shad, because you held me responsible for my Syracuse tape, and I'm gonna hold you responsible for the off-season tape. So.
You should. Hey, listen. I ain't gonna hold your feet to the fire for that.
Because I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. We got a whole 6 months.
The reason I'm not gonna hold your feet to the fire for that is because, like I told y'all on the show, we were only favored by 10 points in that game. So if we really were going to take care of business, Vegas would have at least put us at 16 or 17 points. 10 points to me means that it's a pick'em game when we're talking about Miami. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
I hate that, but I just don't understand why we could not block. No, we could not tackle. We could not cover. We couldn't do. I'm like, hey man, and regular teams of UNLV held them to 16 points or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and then because I saw that game and I'm like, bro, they're not that good. UNLV held them to whatever points.
But UNLV is good.
Hey man, we have elite talent. I am not trying to hear that.
I'm not. You know what? I don't want to hear about the elite talent because it's a couple things I don't want to hear anymore. I want to hear the thing about elite talent. I don't want to hear about other teams look at us as their Super Bowl. I don't want to hear anything about us playing out of competition. I don't want to hear any of that stuff anymore because at some point it is because to me it just dawned on me this season that is a coping mechanism for people. I was watching the game because I was out of town yesterday. I was watching the game. Shout out to Coach Hayes in the locker room, and there was literally a person in there literally talking about Syracuse is playing this way because we're their Super Bowl. And I'm like, I watched Syracuse play the same way against Georgia Tech. I've
Right.
watched Syracuse play this same style of offensive football the entire year. But what I will say, other teams did not go out there with the defensive game plan we had. Other teams were not leaving their corner in one-on-one situations against Jackson Meeks. Other teams were like it was one play, for instance, I saw where they literally dropped all the way back and Trevor Pena was running wide open. He caught the ball, was able to turn up and get a first down. Other teams were not doing that. Like there were times in the season where teams, like it was a stretch right there. I think like a 2 or 3 game stretch where Randy Gadsden was literally held in check. Not against Miami. But again, it goes back to the man that's in the middle of the defense. Like people wanted Kiko to be somebody that he wasn't. And it goes back to what I said before you jumped on. I don't know if you heard it, but I said if your best attribute is being a blitzing linebacker, that means you're not a complete linebacker. That means you're a pass rusher. You're a pass rusher. That's basically what they said Kiko is. He's a pass rusher.
But this is my problem, Chad. I feel, this is why I try to tell people that I don't like Manny, I don't like Mario, I don't like none of these coaches because they're all salesmen, right? Mario came in here and told us every position is open. You got to fight. You got to,
He lied.
I'm like, PBD didn't work for his position. Cam didn't work for his position.
But you know what? Hold up, Q. Let me ask you this question because it goes along with what you're saying. At this point, 3 years in, right? You got players that came from high school, players that came in from the portal. They see that, look, if I'm getting a certain dollar amount, they're not gonna say anything to me. So how does that affect the rest of the locker room when a player that gets a certain dollar amount, he's above criticism?
Well, again, this is, and it's going back to that tweet that you replied to about Mario being aggressive, getting on that kid's face and all that stuff, right? I'm like, man, Mario's a softie, bro. He cannot tell nothing to Kiko because he might lose his little brother, right? Cannot tell nothing to Cam, can't tell nothing to Fletcher, can't tell, I'm like, Mario, I thought you were a disciplinary coach or raw, I'm an in-your-face guy.
Lied.
I'm like I thought, what is the stuff that I was been fed to, And it happens. And I'm joking. What I'm about to say is joking, but it really does happen. It's
you Lance Gidger now. You got the jokes now. You Lance Gidger.
No, I don't got the jokes, but
you're funny man. You're funny man now. It is what it is now.
It is what it is. Because let me what I was going to say. Like I was sold on 9-3, 10-2, right? Because I'm like I believed in that Coach Hayes progress, but you guys sold me on another thing, right? And that's what happens with everybody, right? It's like you hear shit, you hear stuff, and then it gets in your head, and then you start believing, right? And it's like people believe what Mario be saying, right? And then it just festers out throughout the whole community. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Mario, you told us Damari Brown was going to be good after the Florida game, right? And he didn't play till the last game of the season. You know what I'm saying?
And people expected for him to go out there and perform
and be Deion Sanders. And it's like, hey man, the kid just came back, man. Hey, what do you expect this guy to do?
But like I said, I'll answer that question. I think it sends an interesting message because again, it's like when Ja'Cory Brown went on the podcast and did that interview, Rich, which people kind of got their panties in a wad about. He was like, bro, we knew that Tyler was leaving. We knew that. We knew he was leaving after the season, like midway through the year. So to me, it's like these players are in the locker room, and I see some people they upset with Romello Brinson for that tweet that he put out, which I think is funny. But to me, the reason it's funny is because these individuals had a fair when the whole motto was come pick up your kid, and Romello Brinson was one of the ones to come pick up. But now he comes back and he wants to get the last laugh. Now it's not funny anymore. It's not fun. It's not fun anymore when he goes to a situation, and whether he's playing or not, right? Whether he's contributing or not, He is on a team that is going further than the previous team that he was on. That's a win. That's a win.
Yep.
That's a win. Because at the end of the day, if he was still here, whether he's contributing or not, he's not getting to play for an ACC championship game. Regardless. It is what it is. It's not fun anymore. But anyway, getting to the playoffs, like I said, because I don't want to be on here too long. Playoff outlook, right? So obviously, the thing of it is it's 3 SEC teams versus Miami, right? So I took the liberty of pulling up a couple things, right? So obviously, it's Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. So I went through the records. So Alabama's schedule, their teams they've played have a win-loss of 92 wins, 52 losses. Miami 74 and 70, Ole Miss 70 and 73, South Carolina 82 and 62, right? Strength of schedule, Bama 16, Miami 55, Ole Miss 31, South Carolina 15. We've played no ranked opponents. Bama played 4, they lost 1. Ole Miss played 2, they lost 1. South Carolina played 6, and they lost 3. So, I mean, based on this, to me, the only difference, and obviously, of course, Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, they all have 3 losses. We have 2 losses, right? But, I mean, 74 and 70 is the win-loss record of the opponents that we play. Because, honestly, I feel like Ole Miss is out of it. Like, they blew their chance. I told one of my coworkers, he's a big Ole Miss fan, because he was hoping that Georgia Tech beat Georgia. I'm like, bro, it's over. Y'all lost it. But, bro, like, people said the schedule was easy, which I didn't feel like the schedule was easy. But when we look at the win-loss record and it equals 74 and 70, to me that does show that we didn't really play a very daunting schedule. And we played no ranked opponents, even though I see some of the Mario fans now are talking about, well, look, the teams have gotten better. They're going to be ranked at the end of the season. They weren't ranked when we played.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. You don't get to go take credit for stuff that occurs later. They would have had to be ranked prior to us playing them, right? And Louisville was ranked, I believe, before we played them. But they lost their ranking.
Right.
Which means they were on a downward slide when they played us. We beat them, and now they've come back in an uptick. To me, that doesn't. We didn't play them when they were ranked. So again, if we make the playoffs, that'd be fantastic. If we don't, Cam Ward, you put it. Oh yeah, let me ask you this question before we get to that. Do you agree with Mario taking the field goal?
No.
Okay.
Not even close. Your defense, what was it, 42-14?
42-14? What are you talking about, 42-14? What are you talking about?
They went on a 42-14 scoring streak.
Oh, yeah. They went they went crazy in the second quarter.
That went crazy. No, hell no. No. I mean, you have the best quarterback in this program's history. And you're gonna say, oh, what this is I know we're not supposed to be talking about the coaching, right? But this is my problem with Mario, man. It's like I don't think he knows what the hell he's doing out there. You know?
But then I think, what was it? It's 4th and 10, right? Because it was goals, so there was no way for us to get on the 4th down, right? So we were on the 10-yard line. So if you go for it, they don't get it. At least you force them to start possession at the 10-yard line versus that extra 15 yards for them starting at the 25 on the kickoff.
Like, they got to go 90-some yards.
Yeah, I called it in Coach Hayes' show last night. He agreed. He felt like that they should have kicked the field goal, and that's his opinion from a coaching perspective. But my thing is, this is what you brought Cam Ward in for. I know the whole aspect of what happened in Georgia Tech. What Mario learns. He's taking the points now. Those are 2 different scenarios, right, bro? Like these are 2 different situations.
This is my thing.
The stakes are higher.
This is my thing, Chad. People assume that Mario is this alpha personality type of guy.
He's been given a badge that he has not earned.
He's not that guy. He is a very weak-minded. I'm sorry I hate talking about people like this, but I have to be real. He's a weak-minded individual, right? Last year, he got, everybody got in his head about the kneeling stuff, and then he went and hired this, this guy that's going to tell him about the clock management, right?
Hold on, before you finish that. Who is that guy? Who was
Mario Mirabal.
No, I'm just asking. Who
That's
was
what it
that
is.
guy? We
Yeah, it's
never listen.
Yeah, I don't
Look. They put it out there. They said Mario hired the guy. I never saw him. I never saw a photo of the person.
All right, I never seen. Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's like the Georgia Tech game, right? People are like, oh, if he would have kicked 2 field goals, it would we would have won by 1 point, right? So Mario, he's a weak-minded. He listens to what the media says, and he listens to what we say. I will go into that a little bit later on the South Coast show, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, save
He's
it for
not.
South Coast show because, like I said, I just wanted to kind of just touch on a few things.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go in on a lot of people on South Coast show, so I'm being
yeah.
nice here. I'm being really nice and holding things back because there's some check-ins that's gonna happen on that show. Um, but Mario's not. He's not that. Mario's a meatball. I'm sorry to call him. He's a meatball. He's
Wow.
an offensive lineman, Jazz.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean, yeah, he is. Yeah,
yeah,
he
he's an
is.
offensive lineman. So offensive linemen are meatball. But the crazy part is like
Is
Georgia
Brent
Tech
Key a
got a
meatball?
meatball coach, and he's not like that, right?
Okay, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I felt like those dynamics were different because, like you said, because I wasn't able to watch the Georgia Tech game in entirety because I had to go to work. But from what they were saying, it's like these situations, neither one of those situations looked like what that came down to. Like it wasn't a do or die situation. Like so, I mean, I no forced him to drive the ball. And I'm gonna tell you what else we messed up at, right? When Cam Ward called that timeout,
Did he
I
call the
said,
timeout?
yeah, he called it. I
I
said we're
don't
gonna
think
need
he
that time.
called it. I think Mario called
No,
it.
no, he called it. I remember Cam Ward called. If I'm wrong, you can give me later. But I recall Cam Ward called that timeout. I recall Cam Ward calling that timeout, and I
Okay,
said,
I might be wrong. I thought it was Mario, but you might. I think
and I
you're right.
said,
I think.
we're gonna need that timeout.
Yeah.
We're gonna need that timeout. And sure enough, we did. And the fact that Syracuse said, look, all right, we got a lead. We're gonna do what y'all didn't do. We're gonna run the ball. LaQuint Allen jumping over people.
Good
They
tackling.
run a jet sweep, bro. They run a jet sweep to seal the game.
Right. But this is where I disagree with people on we should have ran the ball when we were up 21-0. I disagree. That's not
No.
this
Mm-mm.
team. This team is a
No.
pass first team. They should have just kept passing in and been aggressive. What
Yeah,
happens with this
yeah.
team, they have they have a mistaken identity, right? They don't know who the hell they are. And it's like, if you don't know who the hell you are, just stick to being aggressive and keep passing. Don't try to do the other thing because you start playing around with the system and that's not who you are, right? So don't even
Yeah.
attempt that. So stop the
Yeah.
BS, Mario. Just if you're a passing team, lean
Be
into
a
it, right? Georgia Tech was a
yeah.
running team. They leaned
All
into that
year.
all year. They didn't try to
That's what they
fake
are.
passing. If they were up, they didn't try to pass. It's just like if you know who you are, be that.
Be
You're a
that.
passing
Yeah.
team, be a passing team. Don't try to be a combo to just please Martinez. Again, this is why I call him Mario Chump, right? Martinez probably called him out and says, hey, man, I need my carries because I'm trying to go to the NFL. And Mario's like, all right, sir, I'll give you what you want, sir,
I need
brother.
my carries because my NIL is incentives based, and I haven't reached that point yet.
Studio might kill me on this, right? This is why
Oh man, shout out the studio. I know he's gonna be on there Tuesday.
oh, you're gonna kill me. But that's fine. I accept it.
I'm sure he's gonna have a conspiracy theory ready to go. I'm
Oh,
sure
he
of
does.
that.
We've been messaging each other.
Oh,
He
I forgot y'all have y'all thing that y'all do. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna ask how he feels. I'll listen to it on Tuesday, like I said. But we'll get the playoff outlook and then we'll kind of close it out. But based on these resumes of these 4 teams, I mean, which one of those teams is most deserving? Take your Kane shades off for a second. Let's take
I
our bias away from Miami.
I am taking my
Does
King shades off.
Miami deserve it over? And again, like I say,
Miami does not
hold up.
deserve it, but
Let me say this. Let me say this. I want to say this though. Let me say this. And I'll let you People are getting too caught up on this aspect of these 3 losses. This is not the BCS era anymore.
Right.
It's okay to lose a game. That does not mean that you are any less of a team. Like we've literally watched, because this is the NFL. We've watched NFL teams because it's so hard to it's hard to finish the regular season with 2 losses in NFL, much less undefeated. Only one team has done that. Well, 2 teams have done that. But this is the NFL. Like you're gonna have weeks where a team that's not as good as you are, they're gonna win the game. Like it happens, right? So what I don't want is to artificially try to reward someone because you have less losses. All losses are not the same. Like I said, we have a win. Our opponent's win-loss record is 74-70. That does not tell me that we with 0 ranked opponents. That is not so us having 2 losses with the schedule like that, and then you saying Bama has 3 losses and their win-loss opponents or their opponents are 92-52. Syracuse is, I mean not Syracuse, South Carolina's 82-62.
Right.
They play better opponents.
Right. But all
Now
right. So
Ole Miss being 70-73, like okay, y'all are front runners, and I like Lane, but again, you're not above criticism. But again, nothing about our resume says that we should get in over any of these teams. If the only thing y'all want to say is, oh well, Miami got 1 less loss. We got 1 less loss against a easier schedule. But I'm gonna let you get it.
right. So I'm with South Coast. I saw him in the chat. Right. We do not deserve to get in the playoffs, but there's a huge but. There is a person, Tanner Dennis, right, from ESPN.
I heard it.
Seems like he's in a relation. He has relationships or in a relationship with somebody in the committee. Right.
Okay.
So she is saying that we're going to get in because we lost to a 9-3 Syracuse and a team that almost beat Georgia. Right.
Almost beat Georgia. Yeah.
Right. We don't deserve it. I think if SMU wins, we do get in. I don't like that, but I do think we get in. We do not deserve it. We should not get in. Mario should not get that type of luck, right? But I think if SMU wins, Mario's going to get lucky, and it's going to be hell for me because I am going to hear from the Mario groupies. We made the playoffs, blah, 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 in year 3, right? And it's like, this season has been a very undeserving season for so many reasons. We don't deserve to be 10-2. We should have really been 7-5, right? And it's like, there's a lot of, actually, no, I kind of do want these things to happen because I'm going back to my original statement at the beginning. So there's a standard that Shad and Coach Hayes have. So I want us to make the playoffs because this will be the standard going forward, right? So, hey, let's make this damn playoff. So, I could hold Shad and Coach Hayes to a standard now that every year we're going to go whatever, 2 games better. So if next year we go 12-0, right? The year before that, we need to go 14-0. 14-0 means we're going to win the we're going to win the championship, right? So
yeah,
I'm just saying that's my standard that I'm going to hold with you guys. But I think we do make it if SMU wins. We deserve it? Hell no. Not even.
But I'm trying to figure out how closely are the AP poll and the playoff poll. How closely have they been to one another?
Well, you're looking at it incorrectly. You need to pay attention to what is the TV rankings. That's where people get it messed up. You have to pay attention to the TV rankings.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
We can.
If Miami's a draw, TV wise, rating wise, because this is a money game now. There's a lot of money being paid. ESPN has to pay big fees to all these SEC teams, right? So it's no longer, I think Boise should make it because they had this great schedule. Nah, it's
the Boise in there anyway, so that's
they got a tough road, They got to win
Yes.
that conference championship. But this no longer is about who has the best
Oh
record or
yeah,
anything
yeah,
like that. It's
yeah,
who
yeah.
has
Cause
the
that ain't
best,
gonna be.
huh?
Yeah, cause they ain't gonna be. Yeah, nah, cause boys, no, that's not gonna be easy. Out versus UNLV. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be
But
easy.
this is going to come down to who has the best TV ratings, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
So. Yeah, I can see that because I think what the other outsider was, I think what BYU, because BYU has 2 losses, but they're not gonna play in the Big 12 title game.
they got 2. I thought they had 1.
No, they got 2 losses. I thought they got 2 losses.
They
BYU,
beat Houston yesterday, right?
yeah, they beat Houston, but they're not playing in the ACC. They're not playing the Big 12 title game. It's gonna be
Yeah,
Arizona
because they
State
lost
versus
1
Iowa
game,
State.
right? Let me see.
I thought they lost. I thought they lost 2 games. They had to lose 2 games because I think they're the only other 2 lost team.
Oh,
Yeah, BYU is 10-2.
10-2. Who they lost in?
They lost 1 game to who did they lose to? They lost to Kansas and they lost to who's the other team? And they lost to Arizona State.
Okay.
So that's
Why
so
why could Kenny Dillingham get this right in year 2? He's in year 2, year 3. What year is he in?
year 2.
Yeah, year 2. He lost his big time quarterback to Georgia. How did he get this right in year 2? And
I don't know.
I mean he had to deal with an actual,
Yeah.
probation,
Yeah, he
actual
did.
scam at his school that he didn't even know. He took the
Yeah.
job and they're like, "Hey, you're not making the bowl game this first year." How was
Yeah.
he able to turn it around and damn near seems like he's going to make the playoffs his second year?
I mean if they win, they're in. I don't
But how
know.
was he able to do that? And we have
I don't know.
excuses on top of excuses for everything. Now that's
Yeah,
serious.
but
Actually, and this is just not a
apparently,
Mario thing. This is a Mario, Manning, Rick, Golden. It's like,
I
why
don't know.
can't
I
you
don't know.
guys do what they do?
I don't know, man. It's the question that may never get answered.
Oh, it's going to get answered.
But I don't know, man. Like I said, like you said, it comes down to like I think that Bama fatigue thing. I think that's a real thing. That's a real thing. People really do have that. So, and like I said, I don't feel like Bama should be close to the playoffs. But then I look at the resume, and I'm like, well, they do make an
Well,
interesting case. And South Carolina, hands down, is the hottest team. South Carolina just beat the runner-up
yeah, I think
in the
I think
ACC
the
title
bigger threat
game.
is South Carolina.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Bama's out of it because their losses are bad losses. They lost bad to Oklahoma. They lost bad to who was it? Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
And who was the other one?
I don't know who the other team they lost to.
Yeah, but they had bad losses. Miami, if I'm the committee, I'll be like, Miami had close losses, right?
But the thing of it is like, bro, like you know how like what gets me is like one of the things that I see some of the fans of Miami they're talking about is like, okay, well look, these teams are gonna be ranked this and this, but I'm like, bro, if we got to look at the totality of the situation, bro, we can't overlook that Cal game. Because if people want to bring up Northern Illinois with Notre Dame, which they should, and obviously we came back and won that Cal game, but bro, we had no business winning that game. That to me, that just goes to show how bad Cal was. And then we come out here this week and go up 21-0 on the team and get outscored the entire second. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna be a homer because it's like and like going back to like 2017, like okay, boom, right? We lost the pit. We saw that loss coming. Then we go to the ACC championship game. We get completely outclassed by Clemson, and then we gotta go play a very good Wisconsin team, in which, to our credit, our offense scored, but our defense had literally threw the towel in, and their quarterback literally had the best game in his entire career. So it's like, bro, we're not trending up in anything whatsoever. And y'all are saying that somehow that we're just gonna flip the switch and like, okay, we're gonna like a competitive team and what they're talking about the now obviously again, like you say, I believe what they had to say, like the first game would be against Notre Dame. You can't beat that.
Right. But
You
I
can't
think
be, I
where
mean I mean you can't beat that. But I
but
don't
I'm gonna
think
tell
we
you
can
your
beat I
blind
don't think
spot,
we can
Chad.
beat Notre Dame. We can't
Chad,
beat
you have
Notre
a
Dame.
blind spot.
What is
You
it?
and Truck and Chubbs are you guys evaluate this, look at game per game, every single game, stat by stat, so on and so forth. These dudes are literally coming from whatever place they're coming from. They're going to give them a resume and they're like, Miami won these games and they lost these games by this amount.
We
They're
have no
not
ranked
looking at it
opponents.
the detailed level that you and Truck and Chubbs will do, right?
But 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 Cuban, we have played no ranked opponents.
They're not going to
Oh,
look at you. You're not understanding. They're going to sit on in a desk on a Zoom meeting and they're going to present. Remember, they have to have these answers within. They have to make a decision pretty quick, right? They're not going to have a sit down conversation like we just had and actually go down game by game and like this is what happened, right? And that's going to be the problem. That's how the AP is. That's why I think it was Manny Navarro said. I think he said this. This is where or Dan Levitar, one of those guys, and said this is where the BCS is important now because the BCS would have all this factored in. But if you have the human factor, Chad,
yeah.
I am a Hurricanes fan. Let's say Oregon would have had the same losses that Bama has. I have not seen not one Oregon game this year outside of the Ohio State game, right?
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
watched
time
I
to
watched a
go,
couple.
huh?
I watched a couple.
Yeah, you watched, yeah, but I don't have time to go back and see what, oh,
Yeah.
they had a close victory versus Idaho. They had a close victory against
Boise.
Boise, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't got time for that. Just tell me, all right, give me the top level, top three. Okay, I'm not gonna really put a number three teams that lost 3 games. They lost 2 games. I'm gonna rock with that,
But you know what? But you know
And I'm
what,
looking at
Cuban?
the ratings.
But you know what, Cuban? The reason that I'm gonna say this is because is as accurate as the BCS was. See like this whole 3 loss. This is why I'm not buying the whole 3 loss thing, because I remember there was an LSU team led by Les Miles that lost 2 games and lost their final game in triple overtime to Arkansas. And guess what? They ended up playing for a national title with 2 losses, and you ended the season on a loss. So that's why I'm like this 2 loss versus 3 loss thing. That argument has been thrown out the window way back in 2007 when Les Miles got there. So that's why I'm like, no, put the resume beside the resume. Our resume don't stack up.
I'm with you.
If
I
we
just
listen, if we would have beat Georgia Tech and lost to Syracuse, boom, this is no question. We're playing the ACC title game, boom. All right, we got in there. But anytime I hear, it's 2 things I don't want to hear in reference to like Miami. Well, on top of the other things I said, I don't want to hear recruits say Miami is his dream school, and I do not want to hear someone say, "Oh, Miami controls its own destiny."
and
I
I
don't want
know
to.
and I no
I
longer want
don't
to
want
hear
to.
this
I
is
don't want to hear
and
those things.
I don't want to hear this is an easy schedule. No more.
No, but again, we did the show. We
I
did the
know, I
show.
know. We did a
We did
show
the show. We did the show.
at studios like this is an easy schedule. This is easy. I'm like, we say that every year,
And
right?
guess what? And guess what? Aside from Florida, every single one of those teams that I pointed out that I felt like we had concerns with, guess what? They were concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
They were concerned.
I mean,
What?
when we had the real talk outside of me trolling saying we're going 12 and no, I knew we were not going to go 12. No, I said these are games that we're going to have trouble with, right? And
Yeah.
it's like you could have picked any game. To be honest, under Mario, it's like that's his resume. That's what he does, Um, but
Well, let me say that I put USF in there too. I think right, and we handle business on them. So let me not try to be
you said we
hypocritical.
handled business.
Against USF, I mean, I'm talking about from the standpoint of how it ended. Like, no, we no. we saw what happened early on. Like if these people have a quarterback that could actually complete a forward pass, no, but
Well, and nobody's gonna believe me, but on South Coast show, right? And I got killed for it because everybody says I'm negative Nancy. The UF game, I told South Coast, our DB's a little bit handsy, right? And I'm like, somebody's gonna expose that. And it happened at the end of the season. It's like somebody really truly exposed it. We don't have good DBs, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, Meese Powell with the pick six and all that stuff." I'm like,
bro, Wake Forest quarterback was so ass.
"Yeah,
so
yeah." And
ass.
I'm like, "Guys, I mean, I understand. You guys get fooled by these little stats. I'm like, you guys are not watching these games, man. You're not really watching it because you're watching it. This team has a lot of problems. This team does not have talent. Um, you know, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, I do think if SMU gets instead, I do think we get in, and we should
I
not.
mean,
We do not deserve it.
like you said, if we're going by dollar amount, there's not a playoff game in the first round that would be more intriguing than Notre Dame versus Miami. Like you literally, like that literally writes his own check. So I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, the projection is Notre Dame, Miami, or Texas, Miami.
and
Both are going to
wait a
be
minute,
exciting, and I might be in
Texas,
Austin if that
Texas,
happens.
Texas will have a first round battle.
They got to play Georgia.
Oh, you're talking about from that aspect. Oh, you're talking about they lose to Georgia. Oh
Yeah, they
yeah.
lose to Georgia, then we play Texas.
Oh yeah. Well, Texas beat Georgia already this year, so that's gonna be.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's
Georgia's
hard to
not.
beat it. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Yeah, but Kirby, when it comes to big games, Kirby shows out, and I don't think Texas is really that good. Not gonna lie.
You know what, bro? If Texas loses to Georgia, like that does. I mean, Texas falls. You know, they're not gonna fall far, but that does kind of push things down. And then, like you said, because it's a lot of moving pieces with these um title games. Because like, what if Penn State would have upset Oregon or something like that? So it's like,
No, it's Indiana. Indiana's playing
I mean,
Oregon.
Indiana. My bad. I don't know where I'm in Penn State from.
Yeah,
No. Penn State is playing Oregon. No, it's Penn State.
I thought. Hold up, bro.
No, Indiana's getting a large bid.
Let me see.
Penn
Big
State is playing Oregon.
Ten Championship. It is Penn State. How the hell? How they got in there?
Because Ohio State lost to Michigan.
But both of them lost to Ohio State, right?
Who?
Penn State lost to Ohio State, and Indiana lost to Ohio State, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying with Oregon, I mean with Ohio State losing, or with Ohio State losing to Michigan, that knocked them out of the title game. I guess it got
But
something
they
to do with
have the same
tiebreakers or
record.
something.
How did they win the tiebreaker?
I don't know. Like I said, I have to ask a Big Ten official.
Because Indiana beat Michigan, beat the hell out of Michigan.
Yeah, they beat them. So, but no, Penn State is in there. No, Penn State only has one loss though.
Yeah, Indiana has one loss.
Yeah, but Indiana got out of there because Indiana, like I said, I guess because Indiana lost to Ohio State. But like you said, they both lost to Ohio State. But I think because Ohio State has 2 losses.
Yeah, but
it has something to do.
it probably is a point differential because Indiana got blown out and Penn State played Ohio State close.
Yeah,
it has to be point differential.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah, it's something like that.
Because
but with that being said, man, we'll be on here hour 30, man. We're gonna get on about it here, like I said, because I know you holding stuff back for a South Coast show. So
stay tuned. If you have sensitive ears, don't come because there is people that I am going to call out that called me out, and I am just going to return the favor.
Okay. With that being said, man, got any last words?
The standard, man.
The standard.
The standard. Until the next season starts, I'm holding you. It's going to be a long off season for you and Coach Hayes because
it's been a long off season for me because, like I said, a lot of people got to hold up for what they said this upcoming season. The only thing they were right about was Cam Ward. Everything else was a fallacy.
Yeah, but I'm just, I'm going to what my professor told me, right? They said there's a new standard, and next year, 12. Well, no, we went 10-2 this year. Next year, I'm already calling it next year. It's 12-0. Don't ask
Don't
me what my prediction next year is.
don't
I
do it to
already told you
yourself.
my prediction. 12-0.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't do that.
Hey, standard. The Coach Hayes and Chad standard effect mindset now.
Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, I should trademark that.
I'm not trading my name, right?
I'm
Anyway,
trademark
man.
it for you, and I have video proof, right? And, hey,
Hey,
you know
it is
what? I'm
what
gonna
it is.
take you and Coach Hayes to court because I put all my money, my
Oh my
401k, I put all my money, my rent money, my mortgage money, your money on, and I put a
You needed
bet.
to.
I went to Vegas and I put all my money, and I said, and they told me, "Sir, are you sure about this?" And I said, "Sir, yes, because I listened to Coach Hayes and Chad told me there's a standard. So the standard is 12-0. That's the expectation. I should be proud of this bet. So I am
It
going,
seemed
Chad.
like
Hey, it seems you got a couch back there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna sleep over there or something, man. Because
you need to go talk to Jose Mas. He has all the money that you need. It seems like you need to go talk to him. He
hey, man,
got
I see you
he,
got a free
he
couch
got
back there. I could
he
take it
got
back there,
80
man.
he got 80 million to give to his friends, so I'm sure he can give whatever you lost back to you and won't miss an ounce of sleep. With that being said, man, we out of
Appreciate you,
here.
Chad.
Yeah, appreciate you too. Tune in to South Coast Kane Show. Tune in to all of the shows this week. Even tune in to the CCC because I'm sure the viewership helps with the monetization. So please tune in to everybody. Make your own decisions. Don't go out here like Cuban, getting overzealous. Because he's deep down he's a Mario guy.
Yep.
But no. But anyway, man, like, share, subscribe, comment, man. It's gonna be a whether we make the playoffs or not, we still gonna be fans of the team. We're gonna be critical where we need to be critical. And every single last one of you all that blew smoke up people's ass this off season, we coming for you.
Include yourself, sir.
Nah, I'm not in that. We
Yeah,
are
you did it to
coming.
me. You
We
did it
are
to me.
We are coming for you. We got the receipts. Shine time, baby. Summer
I
Jam
got
scream.
receipts.
We own y'all. Peace.